Hi, everybody. Welcome to Tuesday Notary Titans. My name is Bill Soroka. I'm the founder of NotaryCoach.com and author of the Amazon bestselling book, Sign and Thrive, How to Make Six Figures as a Mobile Notary and Loan Signing Agent. This is Tuesday Notary Titans, a weekly group coaching call where notaries around the country are welcome to ask questions of myself and co-host Carol Ray. Carol, thank you so much for being here, founder of Notary to Pro at NotaryToPro.com. Carol, how's it going and what are you excited about this week?
Well, I'm not excited about our internet, that's for sure. Everybody home, kids playing games, it's a mess. And I think everybody's probably going through it, but I'm very excited because our house is in escrow. And if it doesn't work out well, we got a backup offer. So we're going to be on our way to Texas at sometime in the first part of November. So that's exciting. And when we get a chance, I have a guest here today, and
Yes.
I'll introduce her whenever you let me know. But we're ready. But yeah, I'm very excited about a lot of things that are going on with us right now.
Awesome, Carol. Well, thank you for being here, even when the internet's kind of wonky. Our second co-host, Laura Biewer, founder of CoachMeLaura.com, and of course, the Notary Symposium founder. Laura, thanks for being here. What are you excited about this week?
Symposium, it's almost here. My pool room, which is a game room, has all the boxes of all the goodies that go in the welcome boxes. So all I need is a Christmas tree in the middle. It's just got everything. It's overloaded. Boxes on the floor, boxes on the pool table. Saturday is assembly day, so we're very excited about doing that. And we probably have about 20 seats left out of the 75 that we had put out. So if anybody thought it was too late, we got 20 seats. Not too late. You could be a part of all the fun. So that's exciting, and I'm so happy that I'm almost done. It's like having a baby. You know, it's like 9 months of all this labor, and then finally we're gonna have this great day. And Bill, what are you excited about? What's going on for you?
You know, I always have a lot going on. I'm real excited to be back home. I'm grounded now. I can get kind of back into my routine. It was an amazing trip, got a lot done. Finished the manuscript for the second book. That's all going to come out on November 7th, Notary Symposium Day as well. So I'll keep you all posted on that as well. So lots to be excited about. Guys, let's dive in. And before we jump into the questions, I want to introduce, I'll bring Carol Ray back and let her introduce her guest, someone I love collaborating with as well. Carol, you want to introduce Phyllis?
Yeah, I had to unmute myself here. Yes, Phyllis is a long-term, she was one of my first graduates back in, 2011 or 2012. She is retired U.S. Army, and she's been a notary in Texas for about 10 years, a little over 10 years. She's amazing. She has a master's degree in adult and highest education, and she's a former full-time assistant professor at a local college. She's a visiting professor at a local university. She also has been doing a lot of training, Texas-specific training, since about 2014. And she's a contributing writer for the AAN, which is the American Association of Notaries. They're a great association. I have a good rapport with them. In 2018, she was voted as National Notary Association Notary of the Year nominee. And in 2019, she was invited by the Texas Secretary of State's office to present the Texas Notary Public Day Conference, which was amazing. Her training is focused on the Texas state specific, their public laws, rules and statutes, and she's a great leader in Texas. She's going to be sharing, and why I wanted her on here, she's sharing something that she just created, which is called the Texas Notary Patron Learning Community. And I'm going to just let her take over and talk about what is possible for all of you in your communities. I think it's a great idea. So Phyllis, I see that you're showing yourself, so I'm going to mute myself. I'm out of here.
Okay, thank you, Carol, for introducing me, and thank you, Bill and Laura, for having me today. I am very excited about this. And I have to admit, man, I just got my sound and everything on just in time. I was struggling over here trying to get this set up, but I got it set up, so I'm good to go. Anyway, Carol was sharing with you guys, and by the way, Carol is a very good friend of mine. We've been friends for years. And I have a lot of respect for what Laura and Bill Soroka are doing too throughout the community. Anyway, let me share with you guys about a project that I'm working on. I'm really excited about that. And I think I see some of my patrons in here. I did invite them to this. I see Renee, I see Narissa. Thank you guys for showing up, patrons. I love you guys. But anyway, we have a new community that I created called the Texas Notary Patron Learning Community. So what we did was we just got a bunch of Texas notaries together and we created a safe community for us to network and share information together. You know, about 2 years ago, online notarization was approved in Texas. And so, I mean, we got everybody kind of has their own role within the community. And we got people doing research on different things, but mostly it's focused on training, and everything is Texas state specific. You know, I think there's a place for all types of training. There's a place for training like you guys here have in TNT, and there's a place for other types of training, but there's also a place for state specific training. So what we did was we created a safe environment for Texas state specific training. So we created a community, and then within our community, we have subgroups within our community. So we have like a newbie group because we have a lot of new Texas notaries that are new to this profession. Then we had created a group for people who are interested in learning online notaries, becoming online notaries. And each group with that group. And then we have another group that meets on Sundays to just do general training. So each group has a specific focus on it. And so you join the group that you're interested in. And so some people belong to all groups, some people just belong to one specific group. But anyway, we have hosts of those specific groups too. And then we just do weekly training. Like this morning to today, period, has been a very busy day, but it's, you know, I love what I'm doing. So I'm not complaining about it. But today we call it Webinar Tuesday, because on Webinar Tuesday, that's when we train our new notaries. So we do at least an hour, hour and a half of training. All of our training is recorded so that if the people cannot make the training, then they still have access to it. They still have access to the playback. And so they can go back and train at their own pace. On Thursday, we have what's called Webinar Thursday. On Thursdays, all we do is train on Texas online notarizations. We invite owners of different online platforms to come and do presentations for us, and they allow us to record that training. So again, people who can't attend the training can go back at their leisure and look at the training. Plus, we have people that are doing different types of notarizations, different types of things online that we hadn't ever even thought about, you know, and everybody is sharing what they can do, the different opportunities that are out there. And so we have some notaries that haven't even been online notaries that long who are super busy already because of all the information that we've been able to bring together as a community within our patron community. So it's just really working out really great. And everybody participates. And it's a very supportive of everybody. No backbiting. Nobody's worried about getting more, not being able to get enough work or anything like that. We're all sharing what you can do in order to grow your Texas notary business. And like I said, the focus is on Texas notary training. and the membership is very affordable because right now we know we got a lot of things going on within the notary world today, especially dealing with COVID. A lot of people don't want to go out there and do those face-to-face notarizations. So we have a 3-tier membership. Our highest tier, where you have the access to the most training, is $19.99 a month. And you get access to a whole library full of training and information. I even give them access to some of the premier training that I have on the online training community. So like I said, I do have some patrons in here. Anybody have any questions about this? Let me know. I'm available. I can answer your questions. But if you're in an area where you can set up something like this, you're interested in starting your own training, I think it's a good idea. Now, I only allow Texas notaries in my groups because that's what I focus on is Texas notary laws and guidelines, because I don't want to know, especially the new notaries, they get confused when they start reading and looking and learning all of this other stuff that's going on in other states. You know, the first thing they say, well, I saw this on Facebook or I saw this on YouTube. But yeah, that's okay. You can do that in those other states, but you can't do that in Texas. So I try to keep it, focused. Well, we do keep it focused on Texas. So again, if I have any Texas notaries in here who are interested in being a part of our community, I highly, highly encourage you to join and be a part of that. Do I have any questions?
Awesome, Phyllis. What about where they go to find out more information or sign up?
Okay, so they're going to go, I'm going to post this in the chat too. Let me look for my training links. So let's see, it's going to be the www.texasnotarypatron.com. And I'm going to post it in the chat right now. Get over to the chat. Okay.
All right, awesome. It looks like Marion beat you to it. Oh, wait, maybe not. Is that it?
Everyone.
There you go. TexasNotaryPatron.com.
Yeah, that's it. So just go there and let me see. Oh, Sue Haley did it. Sue Haley is, I also have some resident experts in that patron community. Sue Haley is our Texas financial and tax person. We also have Michelle Riley who's in there, and she is our resident
You're muted.
Okay. I also have Michelle Riley in there. She's our resident expert on Texas E&O insurance and bonds. And I tell you, they're doing a fantastic job. So we're creating groups within the community that have resident experts inside the community.
Phyllis,
And
I love it. I love that you've done this. Thank you so much for bringing it to us. And Carol, thanks for bringing it to us as well. Guys, that's in the chat. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I had unmuted because I wanted to, if it's okay, I'm Jonathan Prince with the Notary Education Institute. We're a group on Facebook, and I like to post that link in our group in case because we do have notaries from Texas also. So I like to share that link in our group as well, if it's okay.
oh, please do. Please do. As long as they're Texas notaries, they're more than welcome to join us. So
All right.
please do. Did you get the link, Jonathan?
Yeah, it's in the chat, and I will get it and copy it and put it in the group.
Okay, so I just posted it again.
Okay,
Awesome.
then.
Thank you
So-
very much. That's awesome. That's what this is all about, guys. And I love that Phyllis is even talking about inspiring others in those other states to create something similar to this. There is lots of opportunity for that, especially when you approach it with collaboration and heart in mind. So Phyllis, thank you so much for that. I hope you get lots of Texas notaries on that. Carol, thank you so much for bringing Phyllis to us again. Love working with you, Phyllis.
Thank you.
Any parting comments?
Uh, just happy that you guys allowed me this opportunity to share. All of these people that are on TNT, you guys are in great hands. I mean, you got three of the top people in the notary field. These people are known nationally, you know, Bill Soroka, Laura Brewer, and Carol Ray. I mean, you guys are in great hands. Carol Ray, I am a former student of Carol Ray. In fact, I started teaching because of Carol Ray. She's been trying to get me to teach nationally, but I'm so in love with Texas notaries that I just focus on Texas. So I just stay in my lane. But I'm very happy to be here. Thank you for the opportunity.
All right, you're very welcome. Thanks for bringing that to us. All right, guys, let's jump in and get to some questions. I know we have quite a few here, so we're going to jump in. Laura, Carol, are you ready?
Let's roll.
All right, let's do it. Annie Lau, thank you so much for being here. You want to tell us what state you're in and then get right to your question.
Hi, everybody. This is Annie from California. I have a question on more of the loan signing side. On the loan document, there's this not need to be notarized, but more on the a document. It's called California per diem interest charge disclosure. On this document, there's usually two boxes where the signer will need to select. How does a loan signing agent? What's the best efficient way that the loan signing agent describe this document? That's my question. Thank you.
I think that's a great question. We get that quite a bit from California. Laura, Carol, since you're in California, would you like to talk about the most efficient way for a loan signing agent to handle that?
Not particularly.
Carol, what do you say?
Ain't that for him?
Is she talking about the per diem?
Yes.
Yes.
Because I'm having a really hard time with this internet. Yeah, basically what that document is they can choose how they want that loan funded. Usually people don't really care, but if they fund like on a Friday, they're charged interest over the weekend, a per diem amount of money. And if they want to save money, then they can put the funding off to the following business day, like a Monday, and they'll save a little bit of money. It depends on what the interest rate per diem is. If it's $50, then they save $150. They might choose that. But frankly, in the thousands and thousands of signings that I've done over the years, I've really had people look at that and go, no, I just want to get it done. And that's it. So they have to choose, but you can explain to them what that means, the impact it will have on them financially.
So
Does that help?
Annie, does that help answer your question?
Yes, so right now I have been just, going into detail, explain what the form is, but I'm just curious what's the best practice out there? What's the most efficient way that the current loan signing agent are doing that describe that to signer, make it easy for them to understand and something very, short and precise instead of me right now just going into lengthy, conversation.
Excellent. So Carol, is that how you describe the document? Do you go into that much detail about?
Well, if they ask me and they usually will say, what does that mean? Then yes, I do tell them, that it may have an impact. And if they are willing to wait until the funding takes place a few days later, they'll save a little bit of money. But most people, honestly, over the years have just checked the box. I want it now. I want to do it now.
I think Matt Miller adds something in the chat. He just says sign and date here if you want to keep your current disbursement date. So if you don't want to change anything, just sign and date. I guess it depends on the type of form too, because sometimes they require the checkbox. Great question, Annie. It's a tough form. I know every California notary, and especially notaries outside of California, despise that document because it can jam things up a little bit. But we also want to avoid going into too much detail or giving advice on it as well, because there can be some repercussions on it.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Annie. Thanks for being here. Arlene Vincent, great to see you on here. What's going on? What state are you in and what's your question?
Well, you know what? I am Arlene from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, And I don't have a lot of major issues, but the one thing I do, and I thought that I guess we'll get into sooner or later, Fidelity approved. A lot of people are not so much interested in that. However, I do have $100,000 of E&O insurance. I have worked with 2 title companies that approved me and sent me the papers from their companies, which is good, but it's not really a total benefit with a lot of companies. And some people, I mean, they have the ins and outs of specifications as how to be Fidelity approved. And I'm not sure if this is just in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, or this is just anywhere. But I have gotten some pretty high-end signings, which is pretty good. And I kind of rank high because I stay as professional as I possibly can. And believe me, I listen to all you guys' tips and tricks. But I have mentored about 8 people, and I got 2 more people now. I need to have those people on your sites or whatever the case may be. But I wanted to start kind of my own little training thing with books and things from the National Notary Association. So I did get in contact with them. I'm not sure if it's going to be any kind of benefit or anything, but a lot of times when people take the test and they're just out here, they just are dumbfounded in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
They are. It's pretty overwhelming, and it's pretty easy to get into. So how do you think we can help?
Well, I have listed them a lot for to put on your site, but a lot of times they have a lot of Pennsylvania Pacific questions. And I have done all of my research and study, and being Fidelity approved actually means that you have to get in the trenches a little bit more and study, because it's something new that I learn on a daily basis. You just can't sit idle and think, well, I got a job, I'm going to run out and get this $100. It just don't work that way. And if you want to stay on top, some of the jobs they send me, they will offer you $250 if you do this, that, and the other. Usually in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania is $85 to $100. A lot of them don't go that far. But as far as you guys can help, I think keep doing what you're doing.
All right. Well, that's easy enough. We can do that. And I love, you brought up a couple of really great points here. Number one, this is not a get certified and sit on my haunches and just wait for the money to roll in kind of business. This is get certified and keep learning and learning and learning and learning. And you can do this for 30 years and you're still going to learn something new every single day. It's kind of interesting about this. The other thing that you brought up is the Fidelity approval. And I just want to talk about that a little bit. First of all, I'm going to drop it into the chat. Laura's doing a skill builder on the Fidelity approval process on November 17th. So you can register for that. I highly recommend that you do that. It's a very, there's lots of interest in it. Let's just say that. Yeah. And the other thing is just getting Fidelity approved doesn't mean anything except that you're on a list.
Exactly.
We're on tons of lists already, but what this does do is it opens some doors for you, because if you're going to get out in the trenches, as you said, and you're going to start marketing, especially marketing direct to escrow officers and closing agents, then you've got one of the major hurdles, which is the approval process, out of the way already. So that means that every escrow officer that operates under the Fidelity umbrella, and there are thousands of them because Fidelity owns everything. You know, they're one of the biggest, second largest, I think, title company in the entire country. You have lots of other brands under that Fidelity umbrella. What that means is all those escrow officers you could reach out to and confidently say, hey, by the way, I'm already approved. So we got that hurdle out of the way if there's anything I can do for you. So that's what it's down. It's not sit on the list and just wait for the calls to come in, right? You got to get out there and you still have to build relationships. Everything boils down to relationships here.
I agree, but you know, the one thing they do ask you, I just noticed on some of the paperwork, they don't want you to advertise. Like I have a website that kind of covers everything, but they don't want you to put down on your website Fidelity approved. So that's nothing that they want you to be out there. And for some title companies, one actually told me they don't care nothing about that.
Yeah,
so that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, well, the ones that are not associated with Fidelity don't see value in it. It doesn't necessarily mean anything. When you really look at it, it's just an application. It's just a process of paperwork. It's not like you got any additional certification or anything. Sometimes they have the bank serve tests and things like that we think has credibility, but it's really not. It really boils down to relationships. In that big corporations, I don't care for working for big corporations. There's so much red tape to jump into, just so there's some red tape to jump through. And Fidelity does that. North American Title does that sometimes. I prefer to work for the little smaller ones. But still, there's some people, those rules are in place. If you want to work with this escrow officer, you have to be Fidelity approved. And then there's plenty of companies where you do not have to be Fidelity approved. And the cool thing is, Laura's going to go over a lot of that in the process, and what it was like going through it, some of the values and the benefits on the 17th too. So make sure you get registered for that. Thank you so much, Arlene.
Thank you. Laura,
did you want to jump in and add anything on the Fidelity approval?
No, you're here from me on November 21st.
Okay. Was it the 21st or the 17th? I can't remember.
Somewhere around there.
Somewhere around there. Just sign up and the registration's right. All right, Hank, thanks for being here. What's going on? What state you in? And what is your question? Hey, Hank, we can't hear you very well. Lots of static. Yeah, sorry, bud. We can't hear you. I'm going to mute you out. We'll come back to you. Esmeralda, thanks for being here. What state are you in and what's your question?
Hi, guys. Thanks so much for having me. I'm in California and I'm newly commissioned this summer. My plan originally was to get some good general notary work experience before even starting an LSS training. However, I live about less than a mile away from a UPS store. I don't know if that has anything to do with it. I've only had like 10 notarizations. So I wanted to get your thoughts on just jumping into a training, even though I've only been commissioned a couple months. And I really would like more general notary work experience before starting, but what are your thoughts on that?
Awesome. I love that. Laura, would you like to start with this one?
Sure. So the thing is, I think it's about what path you're in. Right now, the market is what it is with the real estate. And you could pretty much get your equipment, get your certification, and you can start flying and getting work right away and doing that. Because you happen to come in at a time when it's like this. A couple of years ago wasn't like this, like it is now. And I would have recommended, hey, maybe you should, get yourself started by doing the general work. Now I would say it's where do you want to go? If you've already invested in the certification and you've got the equipment, go do that work and then fit in the general notary work around that and decide what you like better. I don't think you have to do one or the other first, but I would say that focus on something so that you get it done and you get used and you're using it. Because if you try to learn too much all at the same time, you're just pedaling out there and you're not doing any work yet.
Exactly. Yeah. And I keep reviewing, my state handbook and all my training. I keep looking it over and I have done some notarizations, but I just feel like I'm ready to just start a training instead of waiting. So I think I'm going to just jump in.
Jump in.
I love that. Yep. So, and I'll go on that because I'm sure there's other people in the same boat. I totally agree. If you're number one, you got to trust your gut. So if your gut's telling you to do that, pay attention to it. So choose a training, choose a mentor and a coach or a trainer that resonates with you, because you're going to spend a lot of time with them and their voice and their videos. And then the other thing I want to just mention for the sake of other people too is when you really boil it down, a loan signing is a huge stack of papers, and sometimes there's 6 to 15 notarizations that you're doing in there. Those are all documents that you could possibly notarize in general notary work too, or specialty notary work. Okay. So if you're looking for practice, loan signings is a great way to do that, and it's more efficient than taking one appointment here, one appointment there. You're going to get 6 to 16 opportunities to see different types of notarial certificates, different types of documents, different types of notarial acts, all right there in a loan signing. So you actually get exposure to more general notary work or specialty notary work documents by doing loan signings. The caveat to this, and this is for everybody's sake, is still, when I hear the case is made that we should do general notary work first, I think what the thinking behind a lot of that is that we should know the rules of notaries in our state.
Right.
And that is absolutely imperative. And I'm glad that you are studying your guides and your laws and your statutes, because all of that applies to our loan signings. We have to
Right.
know what kind of IDs we can take. We have to know the credible witness rules. We have to know when to give the oath on which documents. So the difference between an acknowledgement and a jurat. We have to know all of that. So all of that's important, and you can start with loan signings with it too.
Sounds good. That really clears it up. I'm ready.
All
Thanks
right,
so much,
sounds good,
guys.
Esmeralda.
Thanks.
All right, thanks for being here. All right, Jennifer Cooper, thanks for being here. Want to tell us your state and what your question is? You have to unmute first, though. There you go.
Hi, I'm in California and I don't have my commission yet. I'm going to be doing my class and commission in the beginning of the year, next year. So my question is about E&O and the bond. My plan is to do my notary, my first notary commission, and right behind it, do my signing agent certification. If I buy specifically the NNA's notary, E&O insurance and bond, when I do my notary training, do I have to buy it again when I get my signing agent certification?
So specifically, the bond is tied to your commission,
Okay,
and it has nothing to do with signing agent work.
okay,
You have to have a bond to be a notary, and it's tied from the first day of your commission to the end of your commission.
okay,
So that's how that works. The E&O insurance is not tied to a specific commission while you're a notary, and it can come in 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, or 4 year increments. And you won't get it. I mean, even if you purchased it now,
mhm,
they will not issue a policy for you until you have a commission.
right,
Right. So
right.
it's going to start with the beginning of your commission, and then depending on if you get 1 year at a time or if you do all 4 years
right,
at a time. And that is to protect for notarial errors only,
okay,
that part of it.
okay.
So is that
Yeah, you answered everything.
perfect? Okay.
Yeah, I needed a yes and no kind of thing, so thank you very much.
Awesome. That was not too basic at all. Thank you so much for
Thank
being
you.
here. Congratulations on your new business choice. Looking
Thanks,
forward to getting to know you along the way.
I'm excited.
All right, Yesenia.
I got a question while you're doing that errors and omission thing.
Sure, John.
I know each state has a different amount that they require for the notary bond. What is a good recommended amount? Period.
Well, the bond is set in statute. So some states don't require a bond at all. Some states have anywhere from a $5,000 bond to, $25,000 bond. And it depends on what the statute says for your state.
Because the Tennessee says 10,000, and I know that I went to, when I was on National Notary, I'm training now for my signing agent certification through them, and I noticed that there could be a higher amount that they was recommending, like a higher amount if you're a signing agent.
I think we have to first clarify the difference between a bond and E&O insurance. So the bond is oftentimes required by the state, but that protects the customer, the signer.
They don't need me.
Carol, you there? So,
I'm trying here.
and then so that's the bond. And then the E&O insurance protects you as the notary. And it's totally different. So the E&O insurance corresponds. Sorry, guys. Can we everybody needs to keep themselves on mute. Sorry, guys. There we go. Sorry, I got kind of discombobulated there. E&O insurance protects you, the signing agent. That's where you have the minimum of $25,000 E&O insurance covered. That covers you in the event that you were to make a mistake on a notarial act. And then that's the minimum that signing companies are going to require. And then we usually recommend that especially if you're going to go escrow direct or closing agent direct, that you have a $100,000 policy. That has nothing to do with the bond. The bond is a state requirement. I do not see any benefit in increasing your bond. It's like it's not a sales point.
Right.
for somebody to say, oh, he's bonded for 25,000 instead of the minimum 5,000. I never bring my bond into it. It was just something I had to purchase because the state of Arizona requires me to. Did that help clarify that, Jonathan?
Yes, thank you.
All right, you're very welcome. Thanks for being here. Yesenia, thank you so much for being here. You want to tell us what state you're in
Okay.
and what your question is?
California.
All right.
Okay. And then my question was an experience I had last month. Okay. It was a signing with two elderly gentlemen, it just happens to be. And one of them has his name as senior on all the documents on the loan docs. This was a refi. So it wasn't the first time he had senior, but his ID did not have senior. His passport did not have senior. So I asked the gentleman in Spanish, where is his senior on his ID? He goes, oh, well, I just added that to myself because my son has the same name. I'm like, okay, does your son have junior on his birth certificate? He goes, yeah, of course. Okay, great for junior, but we now need two witnesses. And then so it was going to be a problem because he had no neighbors or any close relatives to witness him. So I called SnapDocs to tell him the situation. SnapDocs proceeded to call NNA to verify because they were telling me that, no, it's okay, you know, that he doesn't have senior on his ID. And I'm like, thinking in my head, that's not what TNT says. So they proceeded to call NNA, like I said, and the person they did a conference call, and the person said, at this point, it was up to me if I felt confident that he really was the senior or not. And if I was okay with it, to go ahead and proceed. If I didn't feel comfortable, then we can stop at that point. So he showed me a couple of his bills that did show senior. So I went ahead and did it, but then my gut was always telling me, you gotta ask TNT. I've done a three-way call. So that's where I am today.
Perfect.
Can I sleep well yet? Yeah or no?
Yesenia, that's a great situation, and this happens a lot. Laura, what do you think on this?
Yeah, I really had a hard time understanding you, Yesenia, because there's several important times when I was not hearing your voice correctly. So I didn't quite get about the NNA hotline was involved and what they said. Did they say it's just up to you? That was the NNA response.
Right.
That's correct.
Okay, I want to make sure I heard that correctly. And so what you did is you used some supplementary evidence, such as some bills that had senior on it, and I would assume maybe the same property address, that would make you think, yeah, this is senior. I mean, he's older, he had some bills that had it, he said he's using it, and you went with that. So you, and all notaries have the ability to make the decision that you made. One notary will make a different decision than another based on the circumstances that they are in. If you're in their home and you're seeing pictures of them and you're seeing other supplementary types of evidence that says this is the person, that's one thing. You're meeting them at a Starbucks and it was outside of a loan signing where there was no vetting going on before he got to you, that's a different decision. The only downside to making a decision about that is that you're the one that made the decision, right? So if for any reason that ain't him, it comes back to the notary, right? The notary made the decision, but if you made the decision based on reasonableness, right? That you called that you involved the NNA, you know what the rules are, you looked at other things, a reasonable person would have come to that conclusion, then you did the right thing.
Yep, sounds good. That's one thing you'll find on seniors, the senior name a lot is they were the OG. They were the original that name. So when they don't have, when they got their ID, they were not a senior at the time, right?
Right.
Maybe they were 16, maybe they were 30, maybe they were 40, whatever it was. So they just have the original on there. Juniors are a different story,
Mhm.
but we'll go into that later. Let's get into another question. Yesenia, thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate it. Melanie Signal Bowser, thanks for being here. You want to tell us
Hi.
what state you're in and what question you have?
Thanks for having me. I'm from New Jersey.
Right.
I have a second home that's located in Maryland. And my question is around an acknowledgement that they sent me that I'm unsure about. It has something to do with the deed of trust. And what they asked me to put in was, I'm a notary public of the state of New Jersey, and for the blank personally appeared, and I know I put the signers' names there, but what goes in the blank personally appeared? Do I name deed of trust? Do I put mortgage? I've never seen a blank like this before.
I'm having a hard time picturing what you're talking about.
Okay, do you want me to read the first couple of sentences to give you reference?
Sure.
Okay.
Slowly, please.
Yeah, slowly.
Okay. I hereby certify that on this blank day of blank, before me, the subscriber, comma, a notary public of the state of New Jersey, and for the blank, comma, personally appeared, comma, blank, the agent of the party secured by the foregoing security instrument, and made oath in due form of law that the consideration recited in said security instrument is true and bona fide.
Sounds like the name of the pretty person who's signing.
But
That's
I
who
think that
appeared before
personally,
you.
right, it says, but there's a blank before personally appeared, comma, and that's where they want me to name who personally appeared. But there's a blank before that.
But I think the blank has
Is it
to
a
do with
capacity?
you. Yeah, it was a notary public for the state of New Jersey,
Correct.
then comma for blank.
For the- Yes.
See, I think that's something else that has to do with you, not a document.
It's the county.
Probably the county.
Oh, yeah, it could be the county. Mhm.
Oh, okay. And for the
Yeah.
county of wherever the venue is, wherever I'm actually signing. Is that correct?
No, the venue wasn't the venue on top.
It
You
is.
didn't have a
The
separate
venue is at
venue?
the top. Yeah,
If you already
yeah.
have the venue, then it could have been where you're signing. I mean, where you hold your commission. You're a notary public for the state of New Jersey, the county of such and such. Like where you filed.
Okay, and so a notary public of the state of New Jersey, and for the, and then what?
Or the county of whatever.
Yeah.
Your county where you're filed.
Oh, where my commission is filed.
Yes.
Okay.
That's what it sounds like to me.
Okay, and I have another question concerning the same thing. If I am in the state of New Jersey, and I know that that's where all of my notarizations, my certifications will say that particular state, and then the county that I'm actually signing in, they pre-printed everything in the state of Maryland and the county where the property is located, and that's not correct. So would I automatically cross over and change every state and every county where it's incorrect? Or do I ask them to redraw all of the certifications?
No, you would correct those. You would strike
Okay.
it with one single line, correct it, and then initial it. Each change has to be initialed by you.
By me?
Yep.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right, you're very welcome. Thanks for being here.
Absolutely.
All right. Heina from California. Thanks for being here.
Hi.
How can we help?
Hi. My name is Henna.
Henna.
And I'm from California. My question is regarding the journal. So is fee a mandatory field that needs to be put into the journal, or is it to the sign, it's our choice?
The fee column is a required column in the state of California. What you put in there can be anywhere from 0 to 15 for any given line entry.
For loan, most of the loan signings that
Doesn't
I
matter.
do.
I don't care what you're notarizing. Loan signings as well. You can put 0 to 15, and every single call, every single line entry must have a number.
A number, okay. So it's mandatory.
It's mandatory.
Okay. Yeah, that was it.
Okay. Easy,
Thank
Hannah.
you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, appreciate it.
Mhm.
All right. Samara's iPhone. Thanks for being here. What state are you in and how can we help?
Hey everyone, I'm right here on the border of Kentucky and Indiana, so I do both.
All right.
Sorry you couldn't see any of this black girl magic today. I'm still kind of trying to piece it back together. My quick question is, I had some surgery, so I've been off for a couple months.
Okay.
What's the best way? I let most of my scheduling companies, like my main really ones that pay me a lot, I've already, kind of let them know I was going to be out for a little while. Well, now I got clear today to go back. Building relationships, Bill, which is what I learned from you. What's the best way to get back in there? Or get myself back out there to try to like build back up my 20, 30 a week.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad that you are better. Welcome back. This is a great time to be back and going at this. So definitely, it sounds like you've done already. You've reached out to your top performing companies. You've let them know that you're back and you're ready. And then you almost kind of have to go back to the basics, I think, and maybe even start signing up for, even if it's, again, if you've already signed up, go back and start building relationships with more of those companies just to get the phone ringing and dinging. Were you escrow direct, Samara, or were you just using signing companies?
I have made a very lucrative business just using signing companies. And sometimes when you're really good, then they start calling you directly,
Yes.
even though it's a signing company.
Hmm.
And plus I made some good connections at the NNA conferences when they have them when I go. So unfortunately, I'm not escrow direct, although I do tell new notaries that's probably the best way to go. But I meet my sales quota not being.
I love it. Okay. Yeah. And that's the beautiful thing about this business is you can do whatever works for you. So number one, I would hope that you have some sort of record of all of those people that you've been in touch with and you've worked with. Either you have a CRM, a contact list, old emails, whatever it is, I would go through and start re-engaging with people because they are overwhelmed. The system's still overwhelmed. Escrow officers, signing companies, and they need quality people. And if you already had a great relationship, I would be going a little over the top to get back into that because you've been out for a few months. They had to replace you. They probably found some good contacts. So you just got to keep re-engaging them and remind them of how awesome you were. Carol, do you have any other suggestions for somebody in this position?
No, I think everything you just told her is perfectly fine. But I have to say something about the state of Indiana. It's kind of funny just to put a little lightness in here. I did a seminar, 7-hour seminar for title producers license years ago with the state of Indiana, and I did a lot of research. And they used to have, I don't know if they still have it, but there was a law for notaries public that they could not use. They could use blue ink and they could use black ink, but they could not use disappearing ink. That was, honest to goodness, that was the law.
that was in the statute. I'm glad they clarified. Please
Can
don't
I
make us
just
have a
share
module
something
about
real
that.
quick, Bill?
Yeah,
I just share
please.
something real quick because I know you're on a time thing. Today I got, of course, I got back on SnapDocs. So a company called me, something simple, structured settlement, Peachtree. And the first page of the PDF said, call this person for the notary. Call this person to review the packet before you go out. And I was like, I've been doing this for 13, but I'm going to step out on faith. I'm going to go ahead and call anyway, even though I've done a million of these. And got a whole new contact. The lady was so impressed that I called and what I was saying, which is all the things that I learned from you, Bill, and those wonderful ladies you have. And so it was just like, bam, I've established a whole new contact. And she said, I like you so much. And what you said that I am going to give, we do the signing agencies, but we do in direct hire too. And I'm going to get your information to them. So I just want to let you know that building relationships and following directions, everything that I've learned from you guys really does pay off when you put it to work.
Thank you for sharing that, Samara. It's amazing how that really does work. Relationships are everything. There's a person behind that name tag, behind that phone. Build a relationship. Love it, Samara. Thank you so much for being here. Lorraine Schechter, really great to see you on here. What's going on? Tell everybody where you're from and how can we help?
Hello, I'm from Bend, Oregon. Hello, Bill. Good to see you back.
Thank you.
And I just have one question on a, I'd say, relatively new form. It's the tax consent form. And I'm a little bit uncertain as far as how to explain that to people. It was explained to me a couple of different ways. So I wanted your input on this.
I'll tell you what, I don't know what it looks like. I don't know. I think it's Oregon specific, right? Or you may not know because I have not seen that.
Okay.
I've seen one.
If Carol and Laura do you have?
I've seen one. I'll describe what I've seen, Lorraine, because I don't know what you're talking about specifically without seeing it. But it's giving consent that they can use their tax return, that they can share the information on their tax return. Is that what you're talking about?
Right, and it seems that they can share the information, but they're not actually sharing the personal information. It's just their basic information for research and marketing. If I'm getting that correctly.
They can use it, yeah, for servicing, whatever purposes they want to use it. They're signing to give consent that there's information on their tax return that can be reused for whatever their purpose is.
But they're not sharing the personal information for that borrower.
Well, I don't know what they're sharing.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Lorraine, and if you want to
get their consent,
if you want to send that over, if it's because I'd like to read it, because sometimes that is just an added permission as well. So send that over to me if you have a redacted one, and then we can come up with a quick little script too. And I'll be happy to share that on TNT next week too.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you, Lorraine. All right, Terry from Washington, thanks for being here. How can we help today?
Hi, I'm signing up with some signing services, and I'm fairly new, and they want some references, 3 references. And since I'm so new, I don't know who to use that would be most adequate to use for reference.
Excellent. I have a couple suggestions then. Carol, I would love to hear what your suggestions are, and even Laura, if you've got some ideas too. I typically recommend that you use a coach or a mentor of any type of program that you might be in. You can ask if that person would be willing to use. I typically am. Also, fellow notaries. This is really speaks to the value of creating a network of other notaries that might be willing to do this for you as well. Laura, Carol, do you have any other suggestions on that? We may have lost Carol. Carol, are you here?
she just needs to unmute.
Oh. She may not be able to hear.
There we go. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a big problem actually, because they want specific recommendations from companies that you've worked with. And one of the things that Bill hit on is, yeah, if you have a coach or a mentor, I actually got to the point where I created a really great recommendation that people can just download, put their name in, and they use it, and it's been acceptable by all of the companies that they've used. But I'd say if you have any kind of related experience in jobs, if you did any kind of customer service work or anything like that, you might draw on those resources and see if they would be willing to give you recommendation.
I've done general notary work for 19 years. I worked as a notary for the company I worked for. And because of COVID, I am thrown into looking for different types of employment. And so I've been doing this for about 3 weeks, and it is exciting and it is crazy. Okay, thank you very much. I'll try using some of those references and see if this works for now. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, congratulations, and thanks for taking it on. This is a great time to be in the business.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, Sugar. Thanks for being here. Want to unmute, tell us what state you're on, and how can we help? Sugar?
Hi there.
Hey there, how are you?
My name is Angie, but I go by Sugar because of my grandkids.
I like Sugar.
Nevertheless, my question is for you, Bill. Being a resident here in Phoenix, Arizona as well, I've been doing a little research regarding online notarizations,
Yeah.
Ron, and I see that they have a lot of platforms out there. But I was just informed about one that's called the One Notary US. Are you
Okay.
familiar with that one? One Notary online platform. And I was wondering why that one hadn't been incorporated or introduced to the state of Arizona, because their features seem to be more comparable regarding pricing and, not too many restrictions or things like that. So I was just wondering if you knew anything about that particular online platform,
Yeah.
because I would like to start there. I'm a newbie and I haven't signed up yet.
All right, great. Well, thank you for being here. Thanks for asking the question. Ron in Arizona has not been figured out yet. So I just want to say that first. So
Okay.
yes, we have a specific list of approved vendors for platforms. However, the way I've interpreted it, and when I talk to the state, you're going to find that you can get a different answer no matter what. You can actually sign up for a different platform and then submit to the state and say, this is the platform I'm going to use. Will you approve it? So they're going to have certain security criteria, whatever Mismo set up for them and whatever the Association of Secretary of States have set up for them, all the guidelines. And if it meets it, they may approve it. That said, it's because of the way the law in Arizona is legislated, there's not a way for a notary to make money online as an online notary, because they've made the fees at $10, and a lot of these online platforms, in fact, most of them, your cost of doing business will be at $10 or more. And there's no leniency in Arizona. There's no extra fees. There's no technology fee. There's nothing. So you'd actually be paying your customer or paying your platform to use the service and not making any money at all. So
Okay.
I would encourage you to do some really deep research on it first before you dive in on it. And then maybe wait. I know there's a movement to get the fees legislated higher, but it takes a bill, and our state House and Congress has to pass that. So I think we've got some time before we can do it.
Okay, thank you. Oh, and also, while I have you on the phone, I'm struggling trying to find a printer, a dual tray printer.
Yeah.
And COVID is going on, and I have a older gifted printer, Brother 2240. So you know that it only spits out like maybe 25 pages
per minute.
And so I've been trying to find anybody knows what's any suggestions or tips to suggest that. Do you suggest that the company, once I get going, that they would send documents prior to rather than the day of, so that way I can make sure I look over the documents, that type of thing? Because my printer, I don't think I'm gonna be able to keep up with that capacity based on what I've been told.
Yeah. So dare to dream on getting the documents early right now, Sugar. We're running really last minute. So you'll definitely want to upgrade the printer. If anybody's on this call and has found the 5200 or the 6200 from Brother, which I see some people already doing it, Amazon apparently got them back in stock. Brother has got them. And so you can still find them on Amazon. I would jump on it. It's Prime Days right now. Maybe there's a deal on it. You never know. And get that thing ordered. If not, if there's anybody who has any other suggestions, definitely post them into the chat. There's a lot of these smaller computer stores that are still around. The Best Buys sometimes have them. And just a reminder, guys, if you are on today's call, you can save the chat. So if you've seen some conversation that you really enjoyed and you want to save this, you can in the chat window click the three dots and then hit save chat, and that'll save for you, so you have that information forever. Sugar, that's for you too, if there's been some good info or suggestions in there. It sounds like, depending on where you're at, sometimes Amazon's back order, sometimes they can get it. So Hope
I've
that
been
helps.
struggling trying to get something from Amazon, but hey, when they showed up, one day, it was just one day, and by the time I tried to place the order, it was already, they said out of stock.
Already gone. Yeah, they're flying.
Okay.
Flying.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Sugar. Guys, that is all the time we have. I'm so sorry we didn't get to so many more of those questions. If there's anything for anybody who's in Sign and Thrive, guys, we do very similar calls to this Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday mornings at 9 a.m. Pacific. Please bring your questions there. For anybody else, if we can offer any other support via text message, email, please don't hesitate to reach out. Carol, Laura, thank you so much for carving so much time out of your days for us here. Love hanging out with you. Missed you guys. And for all of you who joined us today, thank you for growing yourself and your business on a Tuesday. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Everybody stay safe.